かがりの頭の中にマキセ・クリスの記憶が入ってる。
Suzuha didn't seem as surprised as I had expected. Maho and I asked her some more questions after that. About Victor Kondria. About her research. Her answers were all over the place. Something she knew, and something she didn't. But some things she knew were things that only Maho and Kurisu would have known. In the end, instead of being overturned, my hypothesis came out even stronger. All the questions seemed to tire Kagari out, and with Noji's permission, Luko took her home. Maho completely refused to accept what I was saying, but did say before she left that she'd look into whether it was possible to transfer Amadeus' memory data into a human brain. And that night, I explained the situation to Suzuha.
それってかがりが二重人格ってこと？
いや、そうじゃない。二重人格っていうのは、正確には乖離性同一性障害といって、誰かの中に別の人格ができることだ。言うなれば、今の自分に対する不満や不安から自らの中に別の人格を作ってしまうようなものだな。
Once in a while, there would be a case where someone would take the personality of the man or woman they admired, but usually it was a completely original one.
でも、かがりの場合は違う。かがりの中にあるのは人格じゃない。文字通り、マキセ・クリスの記憶だけだ。クリスの記憶だけが彼女の頭の中に混在していると考えられる。
Kagari's memories weren't overridden. She still had them. So they had mixed together.
なるほど。2036年の技術ではそれは決して不可能な話じゃない。
What?
じゃあ2036年からのタイムトラベラーであるかがりなら十分その可能性はあるということか。
でもさ、かがりたんは10歳より前の記憶はあるわけっしょ。他人の記憶をぶち込まれるなんてことされたらその時のこと覚えてるはずじゃね。
あの子は幼い頃、たまに神様の声が聞こえるって言っていたような気がする。
Ooh, okay. I wonder who that could be.
幻聴か。それがクリスの記憶からにじみ出てきたものっていうのは考えられる。
Okay, what I said right there is a slight spoiler, but I said it.
ただ未来はこの時代ほどのどかじゃなかった。物資も人も足りてなかったんだ。記憶を移植するなんていう技術は実用化されているとしても軍の機密扱いだよ。一般人の、しかも子供に使ったとは思えないな。
かがりは繊細孤児だった。 PTSD を治療するためにそういう技術が使われたということは。
What is PTSD? Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, from the 4th edition of the DSM-4, the American Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, published 1994, caused by severe shock from experiencing an accident, disaster, crime, or other seriously traumatic event. This mental disorder causes any number of stress-related issues. Symptoms include psychological instability, insomnia, confusion, memory trouble, and other problems that last for over a month. That is PTSD.
だからって他人の記憶を移植するのはさすがに変だ。
だな。となると記憶のない時期、1998年以降にその移植が行われた可能性が高くなってくるが、
2036年なら可能でもさ、今の技術でできるもんなん？
クリスなら可能だろ
She done it all by herself to make the time leap machine after all.
マキセ・クリスがカガリに自分の記憶を移植したって？彼女はそんなマッドサイエンティストみたいなことをする人だったの？
There was no way. It was impossible. It had to be. And there weren't many people as smart as Kurisu Makise. If she didn't do it, I couldn't imagine anyone else would.
う。そうだよな。突飛な発想すぎるよな。俺だってそう思う。
I might have been getting too attached to my own idea.
でもクリスしか知り得ないことをカガリが知っているのは間違いないんだ。
例えば幽霊になったマキセ氏の魂がカガリタンに乗り移った的なことだったりして。
お前そんなオカルト話をヒヤジョーさんの前ででも披露してみろ。全力で論破されるぞ。
ですよね。
In the end, I realized there was nothing I could do for Kagari, but watch for a while to see how things went. We were just students, without any kind of specialized knowledge. No matter how much we debated, or what ideas we came up with, we wouldn't be able to find the answer easily.
そういえばダル、ユキさんはどうしてる？
天音氏なら毎日バイト忙しいみたいだよ。
彼女は何のバイトをしているんだった？
ケーキ屋さんって聞いてる。美味しいから一度食べに来てって言われた。
そうそう、でもちょっと遠いんだよね。
だからこそ言ったら喜ばれるんじゃないか。しっかりしてよ、父さん。
あ、はい、左遷。
My bad. What does my bad mean? My bad, often used as part of the phrase LOL, my bad, LOL. Well, theoretically, an apology, it is more often used to provoke or annoy someone. That is my bad.
つうかオカリン、なんでいきなりそんなこと聞くん？
いや、ちょっと気になってな。
That girl in the motorcycle suit. Could that have been Yuki Amane? I still hadn't convinced myself it wasn't her. If it was, she may be involved in some way with what was happening to Kagari. But that attack only took place in the other world line. It hadn't happened in this one, so I had no way to tell.
もし彼女のことで何か。
母さんがどうかしたの？
いや、なんでもない。
There's a lot of suspicion on Yuki. I still didn't have any proof. I'd have to just keep an eye on her. My priority right now was Kagari. What had happened during the time when she lost her memories? If I could find that out, I might be able to understand what was about to happen to us. Interesting.
それじゃあ始めるわよ。いい？
Oh? Maho came to the lab again the next day. She was there to look at Kagari's memories. Kagari had volunteered to work with her. As of yesterday, my hypothesis was still just a hypothesis. At any time she saw a hypothesis, she wanted to test it. Maybe that's just how scientists were.
まずはこれを見てもらえる？
Maho held up a cell phone. There was a picture displayed on its screen. It was a corridor with white walls and clean white floors, and two people wearing white lab coats were walking down it.
これがどこだかわかる？学校？ どこの？
ビクトル・コンドリア大学の。
この手前に歩いてる人、彼の名前は？
トニー・ブラウン、あだ名は JB。 興奮すると独特のステップを踏むから。
What? I don't understand this joke, but I still laughed.
じゃあこっちの彼女は？
わかんない。
どうだ？
彼女も私たち研究者の間ではかなり有名な子よ。クリスだって当然知ってるはずだわ。
仮にカガリがクリスの記憶を持っているとしても、完全に全てを思い出せているわけじゃないみたいだ。
That's how it had seemed yesterday, too.
記憶として呼び起こされるものと、そうじゃないものがあるんじゃないのか？
Like she can remember Tony Brown, but not the other girl in the picture.
だからってこの程度じゃまだクリスの記憶だと断言はできないわ。彼らのことくらい調べれば誰だってわかることだもの。かがりさん、もう少し突っ込んだ質問をしてもいい？去年の冬、私とクリスで映画を見に行ったことがあるの。
ヒヤジョウさんとクリスが？
My apologies.
意外？私たちだってたまには息抜きをする。普段は研究ばかりだけど。
It was surprising, actually. I hadn't thought they interacted outside of work.
研究でちょっと詰まってた私をあの子が連れ出してくれたのよ。たまたまチケットが2枚あるからって。
Just happened. That's just like how a man asks a girl on a date. She never was any good with that stuff.
その時に見た映画のタイトルわかるかしら？
ボブ・ワイナー監督の彼と彼女の予感？
Is that real? That's not real. Well, okay, I did find out Bob Wiener, but he was a newspaper columnist, American Democratic strategist, and political commentator. Don't think he made a movie called His and Her Foreboding. Oh no, wait, that's actually a movie they made a fake movie, didn't they? Maho Gold. That must have been the right answer. Yeah, there's that movie that... If I'm wrong and I didn't find it, please say so down in the comments, but I don't think that's a real movie, and I don't think Bob Wiener was a real director.
それって最近の映画か？聞いたことないが。
20年前の作品、そのリバイバル上映だったのよ。
And Kagari had guessed it. She'd known the title of a movie that Kurisu and Maho had gone to see together, in private. And since it wasn't a major worldwide release, it wasn't something you could get with a lucky guess.
でもそれも誰か目撃していた人がいればわかることよ。
だが、君が今日そんな質問をするということは予想できなかったはずだ。かがりがそのために細かい情報まで全て暗記したとでも？
It would be impossible, and she didn't have a reason to bother anyway.
私だってそのくらいのことわかってるわ。
Ho ho. I could tell from the pained expression on her face that Maho was struggling with something. And I was starting to realize what it was. She didn't want to admit it. She didn't want to admit it was possible. It was winter, but Kagari's forehead was dripping with sweat again. Going through her confused memories may have been putting a lot of stress on her.
これぐらいにしよう。かがりがきつそうだ。
待って、最後にもう一つだけ聞かせて。
いいよ。
Is she Is she gonna ask about the computer password? She's gonna ask the computer password question, I bet. Kagari nodded and motioned for her to go ahead.
子供の頃、あなたが一番大切にしていたものは何？
Oh.
子供の頃。それはアメリカに移住してからもずっと部屋に置いてあったイルカのぬいぐるみ。水族館に行った時パパが買ってくれた。
Maho sighed and sunk onto the sofa.
合ってるのか？
昨日クリスのお母さんが電話で教えてくれたわ。このことを知ってるのはクリスとご両親だけ。
それじゃあ
悔しいけどあなたの仮説を否定できない。
そうか。
私どうなっちゃうのかな。
I didn't have an answer. I didn't even know how this had happened in the first place. Past tense I speak. I didn't even know how this had I didn't even know how this had happened in the first place. There we go. The only possibility I could think of was...
かがりさん、付き合わせて悪かったわね。ゆっくり休んで。
Maho stood up with a serious expression on her face.
帰るのか？
ええ。自分なりにまだ検証できることは残っていそうだから。それじゃあ、また。
Maho got up and went for the door, without bothering to look back. She seemed to be silently shutting out the entire world. All we could do was watch her go. Maho's point of view. Uh-oh. She's about to figure out something. Here we go. Maho Hiyajo stared at her computer monitor in a daze. The rest of the world was still feeling the afterglow of New Year's excitement. The last time she'd come to Japan, it was still in the heat of summer. She'd used her vacation days to come then. Her co-worker, Kurisu Makise, had suddenly died, and she wanted to see the place where she was murdered herself. Maho's feelings for Kurisu Makise were complicated. Until Kurisu had come to her lab, Maho thought herself a genius. She'd graduated high school after skipping grades, and joined a university lab while still in her teens. It was understandable that she'd feel that way. Everyone else said she was a genius too. But her pride was shattered into tiny little pieces by the arrival of Kurisu Makise. Kurisu Makise was the real thing. Maho didn't even come close to her. She had realized that she could never be as smart as Kurisu. And she realized that she didn't want to be beaten by her anyway. It would have been so much easier if she could have hated her. It would have been so much easier to hate Kurisu. But Kurisu Makise wouldn't even allow her that much. She was a dedicated scientist, and that dedication carried over to her treatment of Maho too.
先輩のその研究、うまくいけば革命的な成果が得られると思います。
Oh.
私に何かできることがあれば手伝いますから言ってくださいね。
Oh. Someday, she swore, she'd surpass her, Someday, she swore, she'd make Kurisu say that she was the smarter one. But now that would never happen. Kurisu Makise went away on a trip and never came back. Maho had been told that she'd been attacked by a robber and killed. But it didn't seem real. It felt like she'd come back to the lab any day now, and start arguing with the professors with that same self-satisfied smirk on her face. Until then, Maho would work on the Amadeus project, so that when Kurisu came back, she would be amazed. Amadeus, an artificial intelligence that could be loaded with an individual's memories. It was possible to digitize memories by analyzing nerve signals relating to the memories stored in the temporal lobes. It had been Kurisu, of course, who would prove it. And then Maho and her team had turned that proof into usable technology. By the time Kurisu got back, she would have it all ready for the next level. She'd show it to Kurisu and astonish her. But even that hope didn't last long. She was suddenly told that the project was cancelled. Of course, she couldn't accept it. But no matter what she said, no matter how many times she argued with the professor, she couldn't get the cancellation overturned. Amadeus went to sleep at the bottom of the lab server, along with Kurisu Makise's digitized memories. Kurisu Makise's memories. Now they were in the head of another girl. How had that happened? There was only one possibility, if it was possible at all. Just like Rintaro Okabe had said. Oh, Jesus! Oh, Jesus! Okay, I was not expecting you to be here. Also, good timing. But Jesus Christ! She opened the door, and a large man she knew very well came inside.
Maho, どうしたんだい？まだニューイヤーホリデーのはずだが。
そういう教授こそ、わざわざ休みの日に出てきてるじゃないですか。
Maho's mentor, Dr. Leskinen, was here in Japan for a month-long conference on artificial intelligence. Maho had come with him as his assistant. Maho had come with him as his assistant. But the conference didn't take place every day, so they spent the time between sessions at the Japanese office, making presentation materials and exchanging emails.
私の場合、休みといっても特にすることもないからね。ホテルにこもっていても息が集まるだけだし、それならここに来て仕事をしていた方がいい。
だったら私も似たようなものです。
For a researcher, doing research was a hobby. If nothing else, all the scientists Maho knew were like that. Of course, she'd come here today because she'd assumed Dr. Leskinen would feel that way.
君にはいろいろとやることがあるだろう。例えば、デートとか。
教授、あんまりしつこいとセクハラで訴えますよ。
おっと、それだけは勘弁してくれ。
Dr. Leskinen slumped in. Dr. Leskinen slumped his shoulders in the unique way that Caucasians always overreacted. Oh god. He seemed intent on bringing Maho and Okabe together. She and Okabe were both friends of Kurisu's, and so they talked a lot. But there was nothing more to it than that. At least, that's what she thought, probably.
それじゃあ、お詫びというわけじゃないですが、一つ聞いてもいいですか？
訴訟されないで済むのなら何なりと。
ゃあ聞きますけど、アマデウスは今どうなっているんですか？
どうも何も今のところ進められる目処が立っていないことは君だってよく知っているはずだよ。
それは分かってます。私が聞きたいのはアマデウスのデータはどうなっているかということです。
研究室のサーバーに保管されているね。
誰かがアクセスしたり持ち出したりは？
Leskinen's eyes narrowed, and he slowly shook his head.
マホ、君がなぜそんな疑問を持ったのか私にはわからないが、エムデウスへのアクセス権はごく限られた一部の人間にしかないし、不正にアクセスされたという事案も起こってはいないはずだ。少なくとも今まで私のところにそのような報告はもたらされていない。
私やクリスの記憶データも？
もちろん。
それじゃあ他に私が知らない人工知能のプロジェクトが動いているなんてこともありませんか？
あるわけがない。我々の研究チームにはマホ、君の力が必要不可欠だ。私たちはクリスという才能を失った。それは大いなる損失だったが、彼女のいなくなった穴を埋められるのは君だけだと思っている。そんな君の知らないところで新たなプロジェクトなどを進めるはずがないだろう。
Man, I don't want to suspect him. I don't want to suspect him. I'm going to suspect him.
そうですか。
The compliment felt like a bit too much for her to take at face value. There were a lot of scientists who were always looking to get a leg up on the competition. If someone else got the glory first, everything you worked on until that point would be useless. Even in the same team, there were only a few people you could really trust. But to Maho, Dr. Leskinen was one of those people.
質問に対する答えはこれでいいかな？
はい。
では、私からの質問もいいかい？どうして急にそんなことを聞くんだい？
それは
もしかして自分の秘密が誰かに漏れていないか心配にでもなったのかな？
まあそんなところです。
それなら心配ない。いかにエムデウスとはいえ本人が秘密にしたいことは喋らないようにできている。君だって知っているはずだよ。それは保存されたデータについても言える。仮に何者かがデータを盗んだところで本人がどうしても知られたくない部分はブラックボックスになっている。エムデウスからはもちろん記憶データからも取り出すことは不可能だ。秘密が漏れるとしたらその記憶を持つ生身の人間からだけだね。
記憶を持つ生身の人間。
そう、つまり本人だけということだ。どうだい？少しは安心したかい？
ええ、まあ。
Did Leskinen do this, or was it someone else who did it this time around? Is Leskinen the bad guy or no? It wasn't that she didn't trust Dr. Leskinen, but she couldn't relax until she'd seen for herself that no one had taken the data. Maho only thought it was possible to believe something after you've seen it yourself. That's how she thought a scientist should be. But right now, she didn't have the access rights to do so. So in the end, she was stuck with her doubts. She knew this was going to happen, but she couldn't stop herself from asking anyway.
人ともいたのね。
Hi, Judy. Dr. Reyes walked through the door just as she finished her conversation with the professor.
まったく、せっかくのホリデーだというのに、物好きね。
レイエス教授こそ。
私はホテルにいてもやることなんてないから。
Maho exchanged a glance with Dr. Leskinen, then shrugged. That's just how scientists work.
なになのよ。
Oh my god, the last comedians are hitting me hard this week.
なんでもないです。
She and Dr. Leskinen laughed at Rhea's confusion. But the doubts in her mind lingered. That was awesome. That was a cute scene. And we're back to Okabe. Kurisu's memories were inside Kagari's head. Several days had passed since I'd begun to suspect my hypothesis was correct. Let me repeat that. I didn't like the way I said that. Several days had passed since I'd begun to suspect my hypothesis was correct.
ごめんなさい。オカリンさんにはいろいろ迷惑かけちゃって。
別に迷惑だなんて思ってない。それに俺なんかよりもルカ子やマユリの方がいろいろと気を配ってくれてるはずだ。
In fact, Mayuri and Luko were doing a very good job of taking care of her. Mayuri may not have realized it, but Kagari looked up to her as a mother figure. And after living under the same roof for so long, Luko had come to care for her a lot.
そんな、僕なんてただ話し相手になるくらいで。マユシーこそ何の役にも立ってあげられなくてごめんね。そんなことないよ。ルカ君はすごくよくしてくれてるし、ママはいてくれるだけで嬉しいし。
Mayuri fidgeted in embarrassment when she heard the word mommy. I could understand why. It must feel strange to be called mommy at her age, especially by someone who was older than she was.
ねえママ、なに？ギュッてしていい？ギュ？子供の頃にママがよくやってくれたみたいにギュッてしてもいい？ママ、照れちゃうな。ダメ？いいよ。
Mayuri smiled and nodded, and Kagari gave her a big hug with a huge grin on her face.
かがりちゃん、いい子いい子。
Mayuri never asked for details, but she seemed to sense what was happening to Kagari. She probably understood that this was the best thing she could do right now.
ママ、
It was strange. Kagari was a lot older, but when they were like this, they really did look like mother and child.
ありがとう、ママ。
Kagari slowly moved away from Mayuri. She looked a lot calmer than she had a moment ago. It was probably okay to talk to her now.
それでかがり、調子はどうだ？
調子か。なんだかよくわからないかな。
よくわからないとは？
ふとした瞬間に思い出すことがあるんだけど、それが自分のものなのか、クリスさんのものなのかわかんないの。難しい数式とか実験とか理解はできてないんだけど知ってるみたいな。
Kagari's only memories were of her time as a child, and the time since Lukako's father's friend had found her. Kurisu's memories would appear sometimes and fill the gap in between. I couldn't even imagine how that must have felt.
この前もね、パパのことを思い出したの。子供の頃、パパに褒められた時の記憶。
God damn it, I for a second I almost forgot that Nakanabashi is Kurisu's dad. How do you forget something as important as that?
それを思い出して、なんだかすごく嬉しかったんだけどね。でも私、赤ちゃんの頃に両親死んじゃったし、それからはまゆりママに育ててもらったから、パパなんて知らないんだよね。
Maybe... Oh, wait. Was she getting a memory of her actual dad or Nakanabachi? Fuck. Oh god, this is now making things complicated.
だけど、自分が経験したことじゃないのに、褒められて嬉しいっていう感情は確かにあって。
She was getting Kurisu's memories of Nakanabachi. Oh god. That's right? Or is she getting memories of her... Oh my god.
そう考えてると、頭の中がごちゃってなっちゃって。
No worries. Trying to figure out whether this is your dad from 2000... The future 2020s, or if it was Kurisu's memories of Nakanabachi. God! Why? Why is this plotline like this? Kagari grimaced and held her head in her hands. The first time I'd met her, I'd been surprised by how much she looked like Kurisu. But talking to her like this, I realized how different she was. The way her expression was constantly changing, and the way she always slightly overreacted, was actually more like Mayuri. Was that because they were mother and child?
そのクリスの記憶はよく出てくるのか？
前に比べると頻繁になったかも。
そうか。
ねえ、おかり。かがりちゃん、どうなっちゃうのかな？
本来ならちゃんとした専門機関で検査してもらうのが一番いいんだろうが。
But given her position, it wasn't that easy.
あんまり検査はしたくないな。子供の頃もね、検査ばっかりしてたから。
そうなのか？
PTSD を治すためだって言って。
So she didn't seem eager to be looked at either, huh? If more Kurisu's memories woke up, what would happen to her? Wow, this really reminds me of the thumbnail I made last week. Would she be Kagari Shina with the memories of Kurisu Makise? Or would she become Kurisu Makise? A person's personality was more than just the sum of their memories. But memories were an important part of it. Once she had Kurisu's memories, what would happen to her? At this point, no one knew. It was quite possible that up until now, no one had ever shared a person's memories before.
あ、まゆりちゃん、時間。あ、ほんとだ。ねえ、おかり。この後、かがりちゃんのこと任せていいかな？これから学校で 進路についての説明会があるんだ。マユシーたち、どうしても出なくちゃいけなくて。
すみません。
謝るなって。心配しなくていい。かがりはちゃんと家まで送っていくから。
ありがとうございます。
Something bad's gonna happen.
それじゃあ、かがりちゃん。また明日ね。
ママ、また明日。
Once Mary and Lukuko were gone, it was just me and Kagari in the room. After the problems with Kagari's memories started coming up, I'd been having her hold off on her job at the Round 2 workshop. But I was still having her come here as much as possible during the day, in case something happened. Suzuha and Tenoji were downstairs. That alone made me feel better. I suddenly felt Kagari looking at me.
どうした？
改めて考えると、こうしてオカリンさんと話してるっていうのが不思議だなーって。
不思議？どうして？
だって私にとってのオカリンさんはお話の中の人だったんだもん。
Oh yeah, because Okabe's dead by the time Mary adopted Kagari.
お話の中。
ダルおじさんやママから聞くお話の中の人。
That's right. According to Suzuha, I was going to die in 2025. Which meant that in Kagari's time, I was no longer alive.
ママはね、いっつもオカリンさんの話をしてたよ。オカリンがママを助けてくれた。オカリンがママの彦星様なんだよって。
あいつ、未来になってもそんなことを言っているのか。
Now it was my turn to be embarrassed. Good timing for that line.
だからね、私もずーっと気になってたんだ。ママがそんなに大切に思ってるオカリンさんってどんな人なんだろうって。みんなが話題にする岡部倫太郎っていう人がどんな人なんだろうって。もしかしたらちょっと憧れてたかも。
からかうのはよしてくれ。
オカリンさんたら照れちゃってる。
Kagari clearly had the upper hand here.
でもそういう意味では牧瀬クリスって人もそうかな。
クリスが？
牧瀬クリスっていう人の名前もママやダルおじさんの口によく上ってたから。ずっと昔に亡くなっちゃったのにそんなに影響のある人ってどんな人だろうって。
そのマユリはクリスのことをなんて？
オカリンさんの大切な人だって。
the person I loved. For me, that was an undeniable truth. But that wasn't true for the rest of the lab. In this world line, MayQueen had never met Kurisu, and I tried as much as possible to avoid bringing her up. But thanks to me, even in the future, she'd still feel that way.
そうだ。今から買い物に行くんだが、よかったら一緒に来ないか。
買い物？
ああ、まだこの辺りのことをよく知らないだろ。
いいの？
もちろんだ。
After what happened in the last world line, it was probably a good idea to keep her from going outside too much, but she probably needed a change of pace. It was still afternoon. As long as we stuck to busy streets, we'd probably be fine.
やった！実はね、いろいろ欲しいものもあったんだ。
欲しいもの？
うん。日用品とか、いろいろね。
ルカ子が用意してくれてるんじゃないのか？
そうだけど、でもほら、ルカ君だって男の子でしょ？だからいろいろ頼んじゃうのも悪いなって。
True. Even if he was beautiful, Luca was a guy. There were some things he just wouldn't understand.
それじゃあ、行くか。
やっぱりすごいよね。
Kagari's eyes were shining as she looked up and down the street.
人も多いし、お店もたくさんあるし、ここがあの秋葉原と同じ街だとは思えないな。
未来の秋葉原はどんなところなんだ？
一言で言うと、そうだな。瓦礫の山かな。まあ、秋葉原に限ったことじゃないんだけどね。
Susa had said that the Third World War would start soon, which meant that a young Kagari would have only known the world after that horrible war. Of course, that was all my fault. Probably. If I did what Susa wanted and went back to July 28th, would the world line change so that the Third World War would never happen? Impossible. The world lines were going to converge no matter what I did.
あ、オカリンさん、もしかして自分のせいだなんて思っちゃってる？
Oh! I guessed. She read my mind!
その反応は図星だね。でも、その考えはダメ。バッテンなのだ。私の知る限り、ママもタルおじさんも、誰もオカリンさんを責めてなんていなかったよ。
Oh.
だって、ママたちはみんな信じてたから、オカリンさんならいつかやってくれるって。その、シュタインズゲートだっけ？そこに導いてくれるって。
I knew Kagari was trying to make me feel better, and that Mayuri and Daru would probably never blame me. But those words just made it worse. Because I'd given up on everything.
わあ、ごめんなさい。別に追い込むつもりとかじゃなかったんだけど。
I must have had a pretty dark look on my face.
あ、いや、俺の方こそすまない。でも、俺はもう。
ストップ。今日はそういうのはなし。せっかく外に出たんだから、もっと楽しい話しよう。ね。
Kagari's mind was probably filled with the memories of a painful war. If nothing else, those were her only memories as Kagari Shina. But she was still trying to make me feel better. Even if they weren't related by blood, She really was Mayuri's daughter. Still, it was hard to come up with something that was more fun to talk about.
そうだな。せっかくだからママの若い頃の話を聞きたいな。
まゆりの？
若いって言っても今も若いんだけど、でももっと若い頃の話。例えば人質の話とか。
まゆりはそんなことまで君に話しているのか？
私ね、オカリンさんの話をする時のママの顔が大好きなの。とっても大切な宝箱をそーっと開けるみたいな、そんな顔っていうのかな。その顔とその時の声と、それを思い出すだけですっごくあったかい気持ちになれるんだ。
To Kagari, Mayuri must have felt like a star shining in a world of darkness and mud. A star shining brighter than anything else in the night sky.
別に大した話じゃないさ。大好きなおばあさんが亡くなってずっと悲しんでたあいつが今にも消えてしまいそうで、それで口から出た痛々しいセリフだ。
お前は俺の人質だって？
Hearing it from another person made me so embarrassed that I wanted to go hide.
若かったんだ。若さゆえの過ちというやつさ。
それでもその言葉はママを救ってくれたんだよね。
どうだろうな。
If those words meant that I was holding her back, even all the way into the future.
オカリンさん？
Okabe, are you?
そんなことより腹が減らないか？何か食べにでも行こう。
I started walking ahead in an effort to change the subject. Kagari seemed hesitant as she tried to keep up.
何か食べたいものあるか？
私は何でもいいかな。
そういうのが一番困るんだ。
だってこの時代の食べ物って何でも美味しいんだもん。びっくりするくらい。
未来じゃ何を食べてたんだ？
お芋とかそういうのばっかりかな。あ、でもママが毎日違う味付けしてくれてたから。
まゆりが？まゆりの料理はうまかったのか？そうか。
The human animal was capable of growth, it seems. Oh my god, okay. Well, Yuki had been teaching her to not teaching her to eat. Well, Yuki had been teaching her a lot lately. Maybe that had paid off.
だから私は何でもいいよ。
Alright then. Yams it is! Oh Jesus. Of course! Of course.
オカリン、それにカガリニャンも。
I can't believe I got scared when Ferris came up. God, how did I get scared of this? How do you get scared of this? I chose to stop by MayQueen 9 Square, and it was packed.
今日は混んでるな。
そうなのにゃ。今日からアニメとのタイアップキャンペーンが始まったのにゃ。
Come to think of it, there was a sign out front with some anime characters on it. I'd seen those characters all over town.
おかげで大繁盛で満席
そういうことならまた今度にするよな。
もっとゆっくりできそうな時に出直してくるね。せっかく来てもらったのにごめんや。
My apologies. We left MayQueen 9 Square and walked around for a bit, but it was lunchtime, and every place we saw was crowded.
すごいね。どこも人だらけ。
まったくだ。わざわざ外で飯なんか食わずに家で済ませればいいもの。
でもそれって私たちにも当てはまるよね。
Now then, what to do?
ラボで食べよっか。
言っとくが俺は料理なんてできないぞ。
私も。
Then that was out of the question.
簡単なものでいいよ。私あれ食べてみたかったんだ。ほら、お湯かけて食べるヌードル的なの。
Instant noodles?
カップ麺か？あんなものでいいのか？
未来だとね、工場がいっぱいなくなっちゃってなかなか手に入らなくなっちゃったんだ。ダルおじさんがいつも食べたいって言ってて、ずっと気になってたの。
If she was okay with that, so was I. And I had just the thing. We bought a lot of instant noodles at the local convenience store. If there were any left, Daru would probably eat them.
すっごいね。カップ麺ってあんなにいっぱい種類あるんだ。
You know, I wasn't paying attention to the background, but wasn't that the same news report that appeared earlier in the game in the background?
今は未来と違って飽食の時代だからな。コンビニなんかでは毎週のように新商品が出る。
そうなんだね。この中のどれを食べてもいいの？
Kagari looked inside the plastic bag I was holding.
もちろん。好きなのを選んでくれ。
それじゃあどれにしよっかな。
She looked just like a child. The way she put her finger to her lips as her eyes shone.
私これにする。塩味の。
なんなら2つでも3つでも食べてもいいぞ。
本当？でも食べ過ぎちゃうと太っちゃうしな。
She had so many different expressions that I never got tired of watching them.
そういえばさっき他にも何か買ってたみたいだったけど。
ああ、これだよ。
I took something plastic out of the bag.
これって
フォークだよ。箸じゃ食べづらいんじゃないかと思って自分専用のものにしてラボに置いておけばいい。
いいの？もらっちゃって。
別に大したものじゃない。
Kurisu had always wanted her own fork. I knew this didn't make up for anything. I just wanted to do it.
やった！ありがとう。実はね、私お箸使うの苦手なんだ。ママからもいつも注意されてて。
Hold on, I just had a horrific revelation. Is Ogame slowly falling in love with Kagari because she's, having Kurisu's memories and all that, and he's observing her quite a lot? Is he? Oh, I don't know if is it disturbing? I mean, Ogame Suzaha, when you think about it, is also kind of disturbing, too, since, Suzaha is Daru's daughter, and Kagari is, Mayuri's adopted daughter. Or she's just being considerate for her. I'm hoping it's just the considerate part, not my fringe horror theory. That is just horror. No, that's just French horror. That's just fucking terrifying to think that that might be possible because the girl is getting implanted Kurisu's memories. Kurisu's memories was implanted into her, so Okabe might fall for her for that. I don't like that, actually. I really don't like that.
あ、これ先っぽにウサギさんがついてる。かわいい。えへへ。私専用のフォーク。私のもの、これで2つ目だ。
The other must have been the keychain that Mary gave her.
でも、なんでかな。私、これずっと欲しかったような気がする。もしかしてこれもクリスさんの記憶なのかな。
さあ、どうだろうな。
ねえオカリンさん、オカリンさんはクリスさんのことを好きだったんでしょ。
I almost choked at the unexpected change in the direction of the conversation.
大丈
いきなりなんでそうなる？
夫？だって大切な人っていうのはそういうことでしょ。で、どうなの？好きだったの？
She seemed genuinely interested. I guess she was the right age for that.
まあ、あいつとの出会いが俺の人生を大きく変えたのは確かだな。
ああ、ごまかした。ずるい。でも、人生を変えるほどの大切な人か。なんか憧れるかも。
She'd change everything, past and future.
ねえ、オカリンさんから見て、マキセ・クリスさんってどんな人だったの？
I don't know why, but I'm feeling very unsettled by this. I am actually getting very unsettled by this. Also, what is happening to my voice?
気になるか？
自分の頭の中にある記憶の持ち主のこともっと知りたいよ。
俺が教えなくてもそれこそ記憶として頭の中にあるんじゃないのか？
それが自分で思い出そうとしても思い出せないんだよね。時々断片的に出てくるだけで、それも大抵難しいことばかりだから、もっと人間的な部分っていうの、そういう人となりとか教えてほしいなって。
Kagari had never actually met Kurisu, had she? If she was sharing the memories of someone she never met, it would make sense if she wanted to know more about her.
あいつはマキセ・クリスはとにかく好奇心の強いやつだったよ。
ふむふむ。
その上頑固で、自分が正しいと思ったことは誰に何を言われても決して曲げることはなかった。
そうなんだ。
不遜で強がりで、そのくせ寂しがり屋で。
The memories of all the conversations I had with Kurisu, and everything I'd gone through with her, came flooding back into my mind. I talked to her here, just like this once before, come to think of it. None in this world line, though.
それに怒ると怖かった。
怖い？どんな風に？
回答して海馬に電極ぶっ刺すなんて物騒なこと言われたりしたよ。
And then, for some reason, she ran a few steps forward and spun around. And then...
そんなこと言ってると解凍して会話に電極ぶっ刺すわよ。
Oh!
今すぐ解凍して海馬に電極ぶっ刺してやろうかしら。
Kurisu.
なんてこんな感じ？
Oh no.
オカリンさん？
いや、
The memories of Kurisu inside Kagari. If they could be perfectly replicated inside Kagari's head, would Kagari Shina become Kurisu Maksei? It was a stupid idea. Personality and memories were different things. But even so, if her memories turned into Kurisu's completely, if that happened...
オカリンさん。
Hmm? Kagari wandered back up to me and put her weight against me. It was so sudden, I caught my breath. I could feel her warmth on my chest. The feeling of her skin. It reminded me of Kurisu.
クリス
The sound of her pained moan brought me back to reality.
どうしたかがり頭が痛いのか
Whoa, what's happening here? Kagari's body twitched in my arms.
やだ。もうあんなとこ帰りたくない。助けて。誰かここから出して。
どうしたんだかがり
助けてママ。どうして助けてくれないの？ママ。
落ち着け落ち着くんだかがり
I grabbed her hands to keep her from struggling anymore. The people on the street were staring at me, but I didn't have time to think about it.
大丈夫だから
オカリンさん。
歩けるかとにかくラボに戻ろう
She'd finally calmed down, but seemed to still be in pain. I let her lean on my shoulder as I took her back to the lab. Alright. Okay, the line that I'm leaving this episode off with makes it seem like Kagari had just died, but I don't think she just died. Should I continue? No, okay. Yeah, no, it just went into evening. She didn't actually fucking die. Yeah, I'm gonna end this episode right here. Even though the line I'm ending this episode off with makes it seem like she died. But no, I don't think she's dead. If she's dead, that's a very, very interesting turn. That would be a very interesting turn if Kagari just upped and died.
Okay.